We're busting a move here at UMass Boston. Start of Game 2 between your Beacons and the visiting Suffolk University Rams. Beacons winning the first game of this doubleheader by a final score of 11-7. First pitch not in the strike zone from Meg Adams. Starting Game 2 of this doubleheader, Meg, 1-1 record. First batter lifts it to the shallow left field grass where Sydney Sandin catches it for the first out. Kaylin Murphy down for the first out of the inning. Meg Adams in her second start of the year. It's also come out of the pen 4 times. 9 2/3 innings, surrendered 20 hits, 10 runs. 13 overall, 10 of them earned runs. Darting out of the way, down the third baseline is the head coach, Janet McGuire, of this Suffolk team. It was a kooky first game of the doubleheader. Lots of runs in not necessarily a lot of innings. Beacons scoring 4 in the first and 6th. 3 times in the third inning as well. Suffolk put up a 6-run top of the 4th to make what was at the time a 7-0 game 7-6. Involved in that play was something I've never seen before, a bases-loaded wild pitch that ended up scoring all 3 batters on the base paths on the back of 2 errors, just trying to get the ball to home plate. But the Beacons did ultimately come out with the victory, improving to 17-12, going up against this Suffolk team now 16-11 after the Game 1 loss. Mason Stout with you on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Have probably the first few innings of this one before Dave Wahlberg will take over for things. And we have a triple header today with the softball doubleheader, baseball. First pitch scheduled for 7 o'clock between the Beacons and the visiting Corsairs of UMass Dartmouth. That was the Beacons' softball opponent yesterday. Went the 50 miles or so south of the city to take on UMass Dartmouth along the coast. 2 low-scoring games yesterday, 1-0 and 3-2. Both Corsairs victories as they strengthen their hold on the second spot in the conference rankings behind Eastern Connecticut, who's currently 7-1. This one will bounce off of Sandin's glove. Was looking up to try and make the quick throw to get Quintana and forgot the softball. And so Quintana reaches. Take you through the Suffolk order. Murphy, who popped out, followed by Quintana at first base. Now Ava Brandow, Savannah Scripter, Ali Cifarana, and Lily Gustafson. 4, 5, and 6 as that pitch is called a strike. Home plate umpire Jeffrey Van Kirk with Linda Hansen now on the base paths after the 2 flip-flop from Game 1. Bottom third in the order for Suffolk. Quick throw down to first base, but getting back in plenty of time, Quintana. Ida Bocci, the catcher, Ashley King, the second baseman, and Rebecca Zellen at first base. Traditional in this second game with the pitcher in the flex spot, not batting. That's Jenny Jacob, their ace. So see what the Beacons can do against Suffolk's best pitcher. Wasn't sure if we'd see her in this doubleheader, but we will indeed see Jacob. Fouled off. Suffolk used 3 pitchers in the first game. Ava Brandow started things, but could only get 1 Beacon hitter out. Ended up taking the loss. After just a third of an inning, Ella Turnbull replaced her, and Ashlyn Conley came in and actually did a really nice job. Also laid down a beautiful bunt. Reached on a single, did Conley. But things got ugly at the end as the Beacons poured 4 runs across on 4 hits and 2 errors by the Suffolk defense, both by the shortstop Gustafson in that bottom of the 6th. to restore a healthy advantage at 11-6. 1 run for Suffolk wasn't enough. This one out toward Harlinski in left. She makes the catch. And there's 2 down for the Rams in the top of the first.
The designated player, number 00, Savannah Scripter.
Savannah Scripter, 2 hits in game 1, both absolute bullets back up the middle. She was pinch run for both times, couldn't return after the second one, but has plenty of pop in the bat. In the designated player spot, this one skipped in there. Nice stop behind the plate by Ali Dayuti. Bacon's same lineup as they had in game 1 defensively. They played around with the order a little bit, but the defense is still the same with Harlinski in left. Perquette in center as Scripter fouls it off at the plate. Perquette in center field, Gabriella Messier in right once again. Around the horn in the infield, Ruggiero at third, Sandin at short, Tilbury at second. With Toomey at first base, Dayuti behind the plate catching for Meg Adams. Designated player Mackenzie Cahill, who had single and a double, run scored, run batted in her first start of the season in game 1. And as I predicted, earned her a second start in a row at that designated player position. Scripter deep in the batter's box. That is a ball. Throw down to second by Dayuti. But taking second base on the stolen base is Quintana. Scripter hitting .325. Starting her 14th game in 15 played, 13 for 40. Does have 2 home runs and a double. Quick conversation down the third baseline. I think they were maybe trying to see could there be catcher's interference. Scripter moved way back in the right-handed hitter's batter's box, and that forced Dayuti back further. But not exactly sure. That's the only thing I can think of on that play. But runner down to second base, 2 out, Scripter. She hits this one high in the air, shallow right center, calling for it, but not making the play is Perquette as it caroms out of the glove for an error and a run scored for Suffolk. Heard Perquette calling for it the entire way. Everyone cleared out, but couldn't make the play. So no run batted in for Scripter, but it is a run scored for Quintana. Scripter, as expected, will be pinch run for. Diana Brzezinski will run for her. Scripter has only 2 times that she can reach base a game, basically, because she's going to get lifted for that pinch runner. So can only re-enter the once. So there is a bit of a diminishing return with her. But she does her job once again, reaches base, though this time on the error. And Brzezinski takes over for her at first base. Suffolk scoring the run. 2 Beacon errors in this inning. One over at first base that allowed Quintana to reach, and then the one that allowed her to score by the center fielder. Out in front of that pitch is Cifarana. She fouls this one off into the Suffolk bullpen down the third baseline. Cifarana hitting .338. takes a ball just inside. Siffarada making her 27th start to lead all Suffolk players. In on the hands, fouled away. Can't really put the run on Meg Adams. It's an unearned run, so expect players of Sandin and Perquette's quality to make those plays that they couldn't make in this first inning. This one just barely into the pen once again, out of the reach of Ruggiero. Finally, the skies have cleared, and as the sun begins to set off to the west, we have a really nice evening here. Not as windy either as down. Oh! Hits off the outside of the leg, but right around the kneecap area. That is very uncomfortable for Siffarada, as she will march down to first base, but more like hobble. She knew that was going to hit her, but I don't think she expected that to hit her there. Runners on first and second for Lily Gustafson. Siffarada still trying to stretch things out down at first base. Suffolk already using a pinch runner in this inning. Pitch called a strike. Gustafson from Halifax, Massachusetts. Takes this one in the dirt. Diuti with an excellent block behind the plate. Keeps it in the glove. Lily Gustafson, true freshman. Attended Silver Lake High School. Takes this pitch and drives it out to right, but barely having to move out there and putting it away is Messier. But Suffolk does get on the board first in the away top of the first inning. One run without a hit. 2 errors and 2 left. Beacons coming to bat. Bottom of the first. Down 1-0. Little earth, wind, and fire. September on this April day. As the Beacons come to the plate for the first time against Jenny Jacob. Suffolk's ace hurler on the mound. 6-2 record in her 9th start of the season. Has gone complete in 7 of her first 8 starts. ERA is fantastic, just 1.29. 59 2/3 innings pitched coming into this start. 42 hits allowed. Just 11 earned runs in those 59 2/3 innings. 15 runs total. Strikeout to walk ratio is impeccable. 74 strikeouts, just 16 walks. So she has plenty of strikeout pitches in her arsenal, averaging well over a strikeout per inning. Has the power, has the finesse. Batting average against 195. So Beacons are going to have their work cut out for them. Beacons going with a pitcher in Meg Adams, who has only made a handful of appearances this season. Suffolk countering that with their ace. They want a split of this series. Disappointed with the way the first game went, giving up 3 huge Beacon innings to fall 11-7. But having the pitcher you want in the circle As Sarah Harlinski steps in, she is lightning quick. We oftentimes see her in the 9 spot, but using that speed to get a couple extra at-bats in the leadoff hole. You can see the infield is way in,
Sarah Harlinski.
especially at both corner infield positions. They are expecting either a bunt or what effectively acts like a bunt, that little slap hit through the infield. That is a strike call from the home plate umpire. Harlinski in game 1. One hit, a single to lead off the bottom of the first inning. After that, lined out twice and reached on a fielder's choice. Did come around to score in that first inning as the Beacons jumped out to that very early 4-0 lead. Foul outside of third. Once Harlinski gets the ball in play, it's like watching Allison Felix sprint up the line. She has so much quickness, which is why she oftentimes finds herself in that 9's position. You usually will put the left-handed slapper in the 9 spot to use the speed and try and get ahead, get a runner on with those big bats coming up, but you can also use it at the number 1 spot, almost like a Ricky Henderson type, to get the speedy player on base to lead things off ahead of the powerful hitters. Gets beat on that throw, though. Laid it down right to Cifarana, who throws on to first to retire Harlinski to start the inning. Kelly Ruggiero bats second for this Beacon team. Mentioned it's the same 9 in the order for Beacon head coach Natalia Ardagna, but different order. Harlinski, Ruggiero, and Sandin, 1, 2, and 3, just as they were in game 1, with Haley Tilbury in the 4 spot, along with Messier. Then things change a little bit. Mackenzie Cahill has moved up from the 8 spot to the 6 spot. Toomey still in the 7 spot. Perquette in 9th with Diuti in 8th. So the only thing that's changed from game 1 is Cahill and Diuti have swapped in the 6 and 8 spots in the batting order. Everybody else in the same spots, same positions defensively as well. Not too many changes defensively for Suffolk either, as that pitch is swung through by Ruggiero. Squares around. Pulls back and hits this one to the shortstop, Gustafson. Plays it on a hop and throws in time to get Ruggiero by a step. Defensively for Suffolk, outfield left to right, no changes. Ava Brandow in left with Caitlin Murphy in center, Jolie Quintana in right. Brandow. Actually, there is a defensive switch there as Brandow has moved from right field to left field. Quintana from second base to right. This pitch hit high in the air, but will make its way out of play. Infield, Cifarana at third. Gustafson at second base. Ashley King at second with Rebecca Zellin inserted in the lineup. We saw her as a pinch hitter late. Recorded a really nice pinch hit single in the 7th inning, did Zellin. She's at first base. Ida Bocci behind the plate once again, doing the catching for Jenny Jacob. This one will hit off the second base bag, splitting the shortstop and second baseman, blooping in for a little single for Sydney Sandin. Has plenty of power in her bat, does Sydney. Still leading the team with now a .388 batting average. That was not one of her more harder hit balls, but it is a hit nonetheless. And there's a 2-out base runner for your Beacons as Tilbury steps into the batter's box with a runner on and 2 women out. Tilbury hitting .329. Offers at the first pitch and swings straight through it. See, there is a crispness to Jenny Jacobs' pitches that make her so difficult to hit. That's why Melchionda and Doble for UMass Boston have been so effective this season as well. They have that real snap to their delivery. On the season, the Beacons pitching staff as a whole has been really strong. 2.65, the collective ERA for the starting units for UMass Boston. 4 pitchers they've used this season. Melchion and Doble both used yesterday, so Catania and Adams getting the starts in the non-conference matchups today. Run will advance as this one sails well high. Jenny Jacob does have one thing that you can pick up and say, okay, that could probably use a little bit of improvement. That's her 8th wild pitch of the season. So she's really good at keeping runners from scoring, but she is susceptible to throwing a softball past her catcher. This one lifted deep to right, and an over-the-shoulder grab in right field by Quintana. Tilbury gave it a ride, but Quintana, ranging back, no hesitation, grabs it over the shoulder to end the inning. No runs on a hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. We've played 1 in Game 2. It's 1-0 Suffolk. Getting to the end of the regular season within the next 10 days, barring no postponements or reschedules. Regular season coming to an end. Beacons will travel to Suffolk Commonwealth Coast rival Curry College on Thursday for a single game matchup at 3 o'clock. And then final home slate of the season coming up on Saturday. Eastern Connecticut State will be in town, and it will be a doubleheader starting at 1 o'clock. We will have a ton of different games going on Saturday. Baseball has a doubleheader as well. Softball playing. Men's lacrosse in action as well. Men's lacrosse team coming off of their historic victory over Keene State. First time the Owls fell in Little East Conference regular season play since February the 20th, 2004. Nearly 18 years to the day. Keene State since then has only lost a single Little East Conference semifinal and championship games. They have been unblemished in the regular season, but the Beacons on their home field taking care of business on that crazy windy Easter Saturday a couple of days back to get one of the more statement wins that they've had. That and the Little East Conference Championship last year, the 2 biggest wins in Beacon lacrosse history potentially. Is this one flared out to right by Ida Bocci. Messier puts it away for the first out. But you will have no shortage of Beacon action coming up this weekend as we get into the final couple of weeks of the regular season. Feels like the entire year builds toward the spring as Sandin grabs that one, throws it across the diamond to get King by a good step plus. But because of the New England conditions, tough to play a lot of home games, although UMass Boston plays more home games than most. In the late winter, early spring, most baseball and softball teams will take really long extended trips down south, and both teams did make a trip south. Beacon women heading down to South Carolina, and Beacon baseball down to Texas for series against Concordia, but that was really it. Playing home games very early despite the frigid conditions that often take place, and always that last snowstorm that seems to hit us in March or even April. We had some hail on Easter Sunday. hit high, will make its way back over us and out of play. But we're in the final couple of weeks of the regular season. Students getting ready for the end of the year. Just about a month or so until school will be out. Popped up on the infield. Put away at second base by Tilbury. And that is a very quick 1-2-3 inning for Meg Adams. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody on, so nobody left. To the bottom of the second. Beacons trail it 1-0. As we warm things up for the bottom of the second, take a look at what's coming up for Beacon Athletics as a whole over the next couple of days. Tomorrow we have another doubleheader for you. Beacon Baseball will be taking on the Lions of Eastern Nazarene from down in Quincy in a non-conference game tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And that will be followed up with another marquee matchup from men's lacrosse. It'll be a rematch of the 2021 Little East Conference Championship game between your Beacons coming off of that monumental win against Keene State. But Western Connecticut wants to make that celebration very short-lived, as it really looks like at the end of the year it could come down to those three teams, Beacons, Owls, and WestCon. Of course, only 2 spots in the championship, so somebody's going to be the odd team out. But despite the Beacons' perfect conference start, WestCon says, hey, we're no different. As Messier grounds out back to the pitcher. That'll be a 7 o'clock opening face-off from over at the lacrosse field. And then Thursday, a lot of road games. Nobody here, which will certainly give a break to all of our hard workers and give everybody a chance to breathe. But there's still Beacon Athletics if you're willing to seek it out. Men's tennis will be up in Castleton, Vermont to take on the Spartans. Softball in their doubleheader against Curry, with baseball playing their third game in as many days as they will take on Wheaton College out in Norton. Friday's a track day. Everybody will be down in Mansfield at the Eastern Connecticut State Invitational, and that will lead us into our very busy Saturday, with everybody in action at some point over the course of the day. Cahill swings through that pitch. Tennis will be taking on Rhode Island College. Track and field will be at the Sean Collier Invitational up in Cambridge. Baseball taking on Southern Maine. Softball in their doubleheader here against Eastern Connecticut, with men's lacrosse heading down to Mansfield as well to take on EastCon. But it comes at you quick fire as we get toward the end of the spring season. Cahill strikes out swinging. 2 for 4 in game 1 for Cahill, but the 2 times she was retired, it was both on the strikeout. So she's down on strikes, and it's a quick first 2 outs for Jacob as Jordan Toomey steps into the right-handed hitter's batter's box. Toomey from Arlington, Massachusetts. Hitting .270 on the year, 10 for 37. And she is caught reaching. That's what Jacob does to you, puts you off balance. You kind of have to start sitting on certain pitches, and if you get those pitches, you have a slim chance of success. And if you get something else, you have no chance. Strike 3 called, 3 pitches, and Toomey down looking. 1-2-3 inning for each side in the second inning. We're off to the third. 1-0. Rams lead it. Top of the third inning from UMB softball field. Suffolk 1, Beacons nothing. Top of the order to come up against Meg Adams, Caitlin Murphy, Jolie Quintana, and Ava Brandow. Savannah Scripter would be due up fourth. Get there. Suffolk looks like they're making a change here. Not sure exactly what it is. Murphy is still swinging a bat. They wouldn't take her out of the lineup, so maybe it's just making sure that. And it's just making sure that everybody's re-entering accordingly. So Savannah Scripter, who may not bat in this inning. Meg Adams would certainly hope that's the case. Go 1, 2, 3. But if she does, she'd be re-entering as we expected. Murphy, pop out to the shallow outfield grass. Tries to lay down this bunt, but touched in foul territory by Diody. Diody's been really good behind the plate today. Calling a good game. Made a couple of nice plays. Just had the one comedy of errors play that scored all three on the wild pitch, but didn't end up playing a role in the final outcome of the game as the Beacons won at 11-7. That pitch just low, maybe a little bit outside as well, to Murphy. Murphy hitting .387, third on the team behind Jolie Quintana and Bianca Luciano, who Luciano, haven't seen her in this series yet. Lifted, again, stays on the infield grass where Tilbury puts it away for the first out. Brings up Jolie Quintana, who reached on an error and scored on an error. Reached on the E6 by Sandin at short, stole second base, and then scored on the dropped fly ball out in center field by Perquette. That's the difference in the game to this point. Just the one run unearned against Meg Adams. Wind continues to blow. It has been a up and down day for the weather. Been cold and windy throughout, but we have gone from periods of bright blue sunshine and puffy clouds to dark gray rain that has come down in torrents, mists, and everything in between. But hopefully that foul weather behind us, and we will have clear skies for the rest of the evening, both for baseball and for softball. About 40 minutes away now or so from first pitch between the Corsairs and the Beacons in a LEC matchup over at Monin Park. That's going to be a good one. Oh, Quintana. That's the second time that a Ram has been hit in this game in a very uncomfortable place on the outside of the leg. And now it's Quintana who limps down to first. Ciferrata had the same grimaced expression on her face as she got hit in the first. Ava Brandow flew out to Harlinski in left in the first inning. Outside for ball one. Beacon dugout calls out the play as this one slapped to deep center. Long run. Nobody's going to get there as it splits the outfielders and makes its way to the wall. Quintana didn't know if that was going to be caught, so she couldn't get off running the whole way. She'll have to stop at third. One out double for Brandow. Runners on second and third, and one out. I'll bring in Scripter. Reached on that error by Perquette in the first inning and then was pinch run for. She can only be pinch run for one more time if she reaches base. But Scripter had 2 bullet singles up the middle in the first game. And is certainly not necessarily a player that you want to deal with in a situation like this. Second baseman Tilbury ranging out toward the right side with Sendon monitoring the runner at second base. Third baseman Ruggiero is holding on the runner as this one grounded to short, looks the runner back, and now the runner takes off. Play at the plate, she's out by a mile. Double play executed to perfection. Sandin looks the runner back, who then gambles as the play is made at first. And it's a 6-3-2 force out, tag out, double play to end the inning. No runs on a hit, no errors, one left for Suffolk, but second and third, one out. They can't push any across, and it remains 1-0 Rams after 2.5. Outstanding defensive work by UMass Boston to turn that 4-3-2 double or 6-3-2 double play. Keep the score at 1-0. 8, 9, and 1 of the Beacon order will come to the plate in the home half of the inning number 3. Ali Diuti, Brittany Perquette, and Sarah Harlinski at the top of the order. Trying to find a way to get through Jenny Jacob. First pitch up, swung through for strike one. Locating her pitch as well. Beacon's clearly not comfortable at the plate right now against her, which is nothing new as teams have really struggled to hit her all season long. She really attacks the upper third of that strike zone, raising that eye level, making it hard to lay off, but almost impossible to hit. Call the strike to Diuti. Game 1 of the doubleheader. Allie reached base 3 times without a hit. Walked twice and reached on the fielder's choice, as well as a ground out back to the pitcher. On the infield, Gustafson backs up, makes the play. Beacon's just a one-base runner on the Sydney Sandin bloop single that hit the second base bag. It was hit so short, but splitting both of the middle infielders to reach base. Everybody else, though, not able to get anything going. And only one ball has reached the outfield. That was Haley Tilbury's fly out to right field to end the inning. That one is a fair ball. Looked foul, but is called fair, just catching some chalk. And now we play a little bit of ping pong in the infield, but it is a double for Brittany Perquette, just barely grazing the foul line down the third baseline. We saw in the first game, Sydney Sandin had one that was clearly on the line. That one was really tight, but it results in a one-out double. This is why you have Perquette and Harlinski bookending your lineup. Speed, and just being able to put the ball in play and leg out plays. So, Perquette, first extra base hit against Jacob today. Just the second Beacon base runner. But Harlinski, really tough to play her with a runner on second base as well. You have to be really communicative in your infield because you still can't let her lay something down and leg out something on the infield. They're going to say that she went, and so it's no balls and a strike on Harlinski. The shortstop, Gustafson, has to be the one to cover the third base bag. So if anything, Harlinski gets down. If they're not careful and they can't get her at first, Gustafson has to be alert that the play might go to her in a foot race between her and Perquette, who would be motoring down from second base. This one popped up, though. They throw back to short. Gustafson not in time. Actually, that was the center fielder that was covering that as Gustafson was moving over toward third base. So the pop-up caught by the pitcher, Jacob, for the second out. Kaylee Ruggiero grounded out to Gustafson at short in the first inning. Perquette on second base, gets her advantage. Ball one. Much slower start to this one offensively than we had in the first game. Beacons jumped out to a 4-0 lead, would make it 7-0 in the bottom of the third before a 6-run top of the fourth for Suffolk made it a ball game again. It was 7-6 until the bottom of the sixth, where the Beacons would add 4 more to put it out of reach. End up winning it by a final score of 11-7. Suffolk currently in a log jam with 4 other teams within 3 games at the top of the Commonwealth Coast Conference. Endicott currently leads the Commonwealth. Suffolk coming off of a 2-game sweep of Curry in their last conference matchup. That's the Beacons' opponent in 2 days' time. They'll travel to Curry College. And then Senior Day coming up for both teams. Beacons with Eastern Connecticut this weekend, and Suffolk will take on the Wentworth Institute of Technology. High behind the plate. Is there room? There was, just the slightest bit, but up against the fence. Bochy couldn't make the play. So new life for Ruggiero. Can she take advantage of her second opportunity? 1 on, 2 out. 1 out double by Brittany Perquette, the Beacon base runner at second base. Jacob delivers, and working a walk is Ruggiero. And that is a really great walk because Sydney Sandin, your best hitter, now can stand in the batter's box with 2 on and 2 out. Good patience by Ruggiero at the plate. Thought about swinging at that high fastball, but let it go, and now Sandin's going to have an opportunity to tie this game. Takes a healthy cut at strike 1, tips it into the glove of Bochy behind the plate. Sandin a single, stranded at second in the first. Improving her average again from the 388 that she had coming in, but she's down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes as she swings through the first 2 pitches that Jacob throws her. Tilbury waits in the on-deck circle off to our right. The 0-2 is hit high in the air. Third baseman calling for it and making the play to end the frame. Beacons get 2 on, but can't push anybody across. No runs on a hit, no errors, and 2 left on base. We will head to the 4th inning, and with that I will also give way to my partner Dave Wahlberg. He will take over for the remainder of this one. Beacons trailing it early, but as we get into the middle frames, still trailing it. 1-0 the score.
And we're back to action here in the top of the fourth inning. Suffolk University up. First batter grounded out to second base. That was Cifaretta. First pitch swinging right over to Tilbury. Brings up Gustafson. Gustafson drops a single right into right field, right in front of Suffolk has done a very good job finding empty spaces in the outfield. In this game, they lead 1-0 on a run they scored in the top of the first inning. Both teams with a pair of hits. Beacon's defense charged 2 errors so far. Beacon's won game 1 by the final of 11-7. First pitch on the inside corner is a strike. Bochy for Suffolk in this game. She's had already 1 at-bat. That ball is hitting the play high into the middle of the infield. 3 players converge. Tilbury with the grab, basically jumping over Sandin while dodging Ruggiero midair. Very athletic play. Could have been very interesting had that been a collision. That gives us Beacon's 2 outs. Brings up Ashley King. King on the day, 0 for 1. Fly ball out of play. Nearly gets our facilities worker / track and field star Justin Yu. Shaky first inning for Meg Adams. She settled down now in these last 3 frames. Nice changeup. Gets her swing on the outside corner. Beacon's had 2 runners on in the last inning, but failed to drive either one in. That ball is hit down the right field line. Foul. Count stays at 0-2. Beacons have another very busy week as they get ready to close out the final 2 weeks of the regular season. They played a double yesterday at UMass Dartmouth on Patriots Day, also known as Marathon Monday in Boston. Dropped a pair of 1-run losses to the Corsairs. After today, they will have tomorrow off, and then we'll be back in action at Curry over in Milton on Thursday. Then they will host Eastern Connecticut on Saturday, 5th-ranked Warriors for Senior Day. That ball is hit over to third. Ruggiero can't make the play. E5 puts runners at first and second. That's the Beacons' 3rd error of the game. Then next week, the Beacons are on the road for the final 2 games of the regular season. On Tuesday, they'll travel up to Vermont, take on Castleton at 3 o'clock before traveling to Lesley University over in Cambridge for a 5 o'clock Wednesday game to close out the regular season. First pitch swinging. That ball is gone. That was Rebecca Zellen over right center wall. Ball was on a line the whole way with the wind a little bit helping out. That makes it 4-0 Suffolk. Caitlin Murphy comes up to bat now. The Rams are in solid control. First pitch is a strike on the upper corner of the zone. Suffolk has swung the bat hard in this game. They've really been patient. They've stayed back, unlike in game 1, where really that game was only close because the Beacons just couldn't get out of their own ways in some respects. Now we have a random sunny, sideways blowing rainstorm over in left field. Only in left field. Sarah Harlinski is getting another shower. It's the third rainstorm we've had today. That ball is through the left side. That puts puts another runner on base for Suffolk. And now the rain has reached us over in our very unprotected press tent, if you will. Malik Lorquette has been standing on a wooden box all game, just living the elements, and now we're hoping, like before, the rainstorms will pass through. Can't seem to get a handle on what the weather's going to be today. Weathermen are definitely earning their pay, guessing what the forecast will be. Count moves to 0-1. And Suffolk's up 4-0. This is a non-conference action. The Beacons won game 1 by the final of 11-7 and a 2-game losing streak. Both losses came at the hands of UMass Dartmouth yesterday over in Dartmouth. Fouled that off. Count moves to 0-2. Jolie Quintana for Suffolk so far today has balls hit over to second. Play over at first. Beacons got out of the inning. Suffolk extends their lead with a 3-run homer from Rachel Zellen. Rebecca Zellen, excuse me. We head into the bottom of the 4th inning. Beacons looking to get their first run of the day. We'll be right back here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. And we're back at the UMB softball field for the bottom of the 4th inning. Leading off for the Beacons is the second baseman, Haley Tilbury. Tilbury, who usually plays, who has seen some time at third, is moving over to second today. And we got Sydney Sandin, a normal second baseman for the Beacons, over at short. That first pitch is right down the pipe, strike 1. Tilbury is 0 for 1 on the day. Second pitch is fouled back into the no return area that is the pavement behind UMB softball field. If you've ever been here, you know that any ball that makes it out of the park behind home plate is going to come back with a few scuffs. That ball is put in just off the tip of the bat over to first. The first out of the inning. Jenny Jacob has really had a solid game for the Rams this afternoon. Really controlled the paces, really kept the Beacons hitters guessing. Brings up Gabrielle Messier. First pitch is a strike again. Jacob has done a good job of getting ahead in the count every batter she's faced. Puts the Beacons hitters in a little bit of a bind, makes them think a little bit more as compared to getting ahead in the count 1 or 2 up. And just like the previous batter, right off the edge of the bat, 5-3. One thing that made the Beacons very successful in Game 1 is they waited on a good pitch to hit. They didn't really rush the count, and when they got into a battle, they really worked the Suffolk Rams pitchers, which featured 3 of them. This game, not so much. They're a little bit more impatient, trying to get something going. Down 4-0 again, but it's only the bottom of the fourth inning. Plenty of innings to play. Strike one right on the outside corner. Second pitch up high. It's a big week for the Beacons. After today's non-conference doubleheader, they'll take on Travis Curry on Thursday, but really the game of the season is on Saturday against nationally ranked Eastern Connecticut State, who sits atop the conference standings. Beacon sitting fifth right now in the conference standings. Looking to pick up some, looking to climb the rankings a little bit as they get ready for the postseason. The win or two against Eastern Connecticut, and then follow up with another tough competitor in Castleton University, who's having a decent season this year as well. Really two solid teams the Beacons are going to try and get some wins from in hopes of you're not sitting at the bottom of the standings going into the LEC tournament. That pitch is a strike three swinging on Mackenzie Cahill. Again, Suffolk just moving through the Beacons batting lineup. We head to the top of the fifth inning. Suffolk leading 4-0 here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. And we're back at UMB softball field. Ava Brandow just led off the top of the fifth inning with a double down the left field line. The Rams have been hitting the ball very hard this afternoon. That brings up Savannah Scripter. Brandow, she's now 2 for 3. Scripter comes up 0 for 2 on the day. Brandow has 2 doubles in the contest for Suffolk. She is the only Suffolk player other than Zellini who has a home run to have an extra base hit. Ball's low for, pitch is low for a ball. Another low pitch right down at the shins. Count moves to 2-0. On the day, Suffolk has 4 runs to their 5 hits. Pitch high on the outside. Catches the corner, strike one. Pitch it off the edge of the end of the bat. Count moves to 2-2. Correction, 3-2. Sorry about that. That ball is fisted over into right field. Gets over the head of Messier. That'll score Brandow from second. Count moves to score moves to 5-0 in favor of Suffolk. It's an RBI for Scripter, her first hit of the doubleheader, or excuse me, of game 2. Beacons are gonna make a pitching change. Emily Doble, who pitched in yesterday's LEC game at UMass Dartmouth, will take over for Adams. In yesterday's game at UMass Dartmouth, Doble was nearly perfect, allowing just 2 hits. The only run she gave up, a solo shot, which proved to be the only run scored in the entire contest. Sorry about that. In yesterday's game at UMass Dartmouth, Emily Doble went 6 innings, allowed the only run, a solo home run, which proved to be the deciding run for the Corsairs, on just 2 hits. She walked 2 and didn't have any strikeouts. She had 13 flyouts and 4 groundouts. Again, tough result for a very solid performance. And Scripter will be pinch ran for at first base. That is Haley O'Teary taking over at first base. First pitch in there from Doble, strike 1. That ball is fouled off. And we're back at UMB softball field. Apologies for the long silent delay. A few things we had to figure out both at softball and over at Mourning Park for baseball. Beacons trail 7-1 heading into the bottom of the 6th inning. Haley Tilbury will lead off for the Beacons, looking to get something going late inning rally. Suffolk University plated 3 runs in the 4th, 3 in the 5th. Beacons got their lone run in the bottom of the 5th on an error by the Rams. We are quickly battling daylight with no lights at UMB softball field. Makes things very interesting, especially when game 1 goes long. This game has also been a pretty long affair. Some solid pitching by Jenny Jacob for Suffolk. She's really had no issues other than the 5th inning getting through the Beacons lineup. That pitch outside low, swings and a miss. On the day, Tilbury is 0 for 2. She was stranded on base once. Beacons have been held to just 3 hits. Brittany Perquette, who was subbed out defensively in the last inning, has 2 of the Beacons' hits. She's 2 for 2 with a run scored. Tilbury strikes out swinging on a fastball. That brings up Gabriella Messier. Messier, another Beacon who's yet to record a hit today. Fouls that first pitch off high. Ball's lined into left field. Puts runner on first with 1 out. Good start to the inning. Beacons are going to cut into this 6-run deficit. They need to start doing something now. Pinch hitting for UMass now. Number 16 is Elsa Vanaco. This will be Elsa's 5th appearance of the season, 4th at bat. She pinch hits for Cahill. Cahill was the DP in both games this afternoon. Cahill was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Beacon's going to look to extend this inning. First pitch is ball up. Ball's fouled off just over the foul line down the right field. That would have easily put Messier over at third. Pitch is in there for a strike. Count moves to 1-2. Pinaco's looking for something through the gap. Put runners on first and third. Swings to that rise ball. Strike 3. Mari English steps up to the plate. English was a defensive sub at first base for Jordan Toomey in the last half inning. On the air, English is hitting .261. This will be her 47th at bat. She's got 12 hits, 5 doubles, 6 RBI, 17 total bases, and 4 runs scored in 21 games played. Swings to that one for strike one. Over at Monon Park, baseball has wasted no time getting on the scoreboard as they lead UMass Dartmouth 2-0. Kind of an impromptu LEC single game. Second pitch is a rise ball, strike two. Beacons have not been able to figure out Jenny Jacob today. Jacob came into today's contest. That ball's hit. That ball is dropped by Gustafson. It's been a hard day for her over at short. She's had multiple errors against her in today's action. So Beacons catch a break. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. Runners on first and second. Catcher Ali Diuti steps up. Diuti was pinch hit for in the fifth inning. Re-entered at the top of the sixth. Looking to extend this inning and take advantage of that error. No better time to do it than now for the Beacons, as they're quickly running out of outs and sunlight. First pitch is through, is strike one. Jacob came into today's doubleheader with the team leading 1.29 ERA. She's 6-2 on the year in 12 appearances, has 7 complete games total with 3 shutouts, and in 59.2 innings, she has struck out 74 and holding opponents to 195. That pitch gets away from her, advances the runner 60 feet. Count moves to 1-1. Runners now on second and third. Single for the Beacons right now would definitely shift the momentum. That pitch is hit high, but in the infield. It's caught and corralled, and that is the end of the sixth inning. So Beacons put runners on second and third, but aren't able to drive them in. We head to the top of the seventh. Emily Doble will hopefully keep the Rams off the scoreboard to set up a dramatic bottom half of the seventh. We'll be right back. And we are back in the top of the seventh inning at UMB softball field. Haley O'Teary leads off for Suffolk. Suffolk leads the Beacons 7-1. UMass Boston took game 1 11-7 over the Rams. First pitch is a strike from Emily Doble. What was supposed to be a mild day here in Boston turned out to be just another fooled you kind of cold day on the harbor. Sage Story, our scoreboard operator and music operator, is currently doing a jig next to Maria Spilios and I. Just try to stay warm. Thing about being at UMB softball field is it sits in the corner of 2 very large brick buildings, and then that also sits on the outfield is between 3 very large apartment/resident hall, so there is a nice wind tunnel that always keeps the air nice and cool. That ball, first pitch swinging, is hit into the gap in left center. Ali Cifaretta got all of that, and the Rams are already in business in the top of the seventh, 1 out. That is Suffolk's third double of the contest and 9th hit on the day. That pitch is low and in the dirt. Ball 1 to Lily Gustafson. Gustafson on the day is 1 for 2 with a run scored. She was left on base twice. The Rams have stranded 5 runners on base. That ball's hit up the middle. They are sending. Oh, nope, they hold her up at first, over at third. So runners on the corner after a single up the middle for Gustafson. Moves Cifaretto over to third. Bochy comes up to bat. Bochy's 0 for 2 with an RBI. First pitch is high, ball 1. Second pitch is outside, runner goes. Daidi thought about throwing, but realized runner at third. Goes down as a stolen base for Gustafson. Slow dribbler over to short. Beats it out, throws the ball away. That scores 2 more runs for the Rams. Bochy moves over to second on the error by the shortstop. Ball is moving too slow for Sandin to get the ball over, so that goes in as an infield hit. And then an E6 moves her over to second. Both runners will score. Gustafson's run is unearned. Ashley King comes up. Suffolk extends their lead now to 9-1. Top of the 7th, 1 out. Doble's first 2 pitches are called balls. Next pitch. That ball's hit another slow dribbler right up the middle. Bochy scores from second. Makes it 10-1 Suffolk. Runner goes. Cannot get the tag on the first pitch going. First pitch was a ball up high. Rebecca Zellen. Second pitch swings. They're going again. She is dead to rights at third. Caught stealing. Maybe just a little aggressive on the base pass, but also with light quickly disappearing. Coaches might be trying to move the game along. Pitch in there, strike 2. Count moves to 1-2. Had that happen a couple times in my career where coaches kind of know what the score is, understand the situation with no lights. You want to officially close out the game. You don't want anything just hanging out there. That ball falls into the gap from Zellen. She's quickly over at second base to double to right center. Suffolk, who really didn't make a lot of contact in game 1, took advantage of a disastrous inning that made a 6-0 lead for Beacons down. The Beacons down to 1, 6-5. They've really hit the ball hard in this game against Adams and now Doble. Runner goes at second. She slides in there safe. Ruggiero couldn't hold on to the ball. Great throw by Diuti. That ball's hit into play. Sandin fields it, throws it. Luciano was just too fast for that play. Great play. Nothing Sandin can do. Scores another run for Suffolk. Brings Quintana to the bat, up to bat. First pitch is high for ball one. Ball gets through Diudi's legs. Luciano will advance to second on the pass ball. Doble just trying to shut the door for the day on Suffolk. Get to the bottom of the seventh. Beacons have to dig themselves out a 10-run hole. Potentially force extras, which there will not be enough daylight for. Line shot over to Tilbury. Tilbury can't field it and throws it away. So Quintana reaches on the error by the second baseman, advances on the throw. Luciano will score. Play over at third. Quintana is caught stealing. 2-5 to end the top of the seventh. We head to the bottom of the seventh, where UMass Boston is going to try to mount its probably biggest comeback in recent memory, as they trail 12-1. We'll be right back to UMass Boston softball on the Beacons Broadcast Network. And we move to the bottom of the seventh. Beacons trail 12-1 to Suffolk University. Christina Panagiotopoulos comes up to bat in the bottom of the seventh. Her first at bat of the day. First pitch swinging. Just a few hundred feet away over at Monin Park, where they have lights, UMass Boston leads 7-0. They scored all 7 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Panagiotopoulos' second pitch is fouled off. Find yourself in an 0-2 hole. Suffolk scored 1 run in the top of the first, then they scored 6 between the fourth and the fifth inning, and then really blew the game wide open in the seventh when they scored 5 more runs to take this 12-1 lead. 14 hits. The Beacons defense has not been at its best today, with 5 errors against them. Count moves to 1-2. Panagiotopoulos swings through that, right over to second. That ball is thrown away. Would have surely gotten Panagiotopoulos. She reaches on the error by the second baseman. That brings up Sarah Harlinski, Beacon's left fielder. You can definitely tell it's getting colder and colder by the minute. Players' hands are starting to freeze up. You see them pumping their knuckles, try to get some blood flow. And I have to imagine that has a lot to do with the... Oh, that's a great bunt down the third base line. It just happens to get under the third baseman's glove and rolls foul. Third base coach Josh Bartley's arguing that it potentially got touched by the player. He's saying it did. Home plate umpire is disagreeing, so that brings Harlinski back to home plate. Count is 0-1. Great bunt by Harlinski. With her speed, all she has to do is put it in play just a few feet into the infield, and most times she will beat that out. Without question, one of the fastest players in the Little East Conference. Goes for the bunt again, swings through it. Count moves to 0-2. Been a tough week and a half for UMass Boston softball. Fouls that one off. Count stays at 0-2. Beacons, who were rolling through the early part of the season, really they hit a wall as of the doubleheader over at Emmanuel, where they were swept. Then they split with Plymouth State, then dropped a pair to UMass Dartmouth yesterday. They'll walk away with at least a win today. Harlinski swings through that pitch, strike 3. First out of the bottom of the 7th. Kaylee Ruggiero sprints right into the box. Again, the Beacons and Rams are trying to get through this game as fast as they can. You hear the wind picking up again here on the Harbor campus. Beacons trail by 11. Again, UMass Boston really was looking to turn things around with another busy, challenging week. Panagiotopoulos goes to second. The throw off target. She slides in safe. Pitch was high. Count moves to 2-0. On the day, UMass has produced just 4 hits. Ball's high. Moves to 3-0. Ruggiero. UMass Boston has just 4 hits on the day to Suffolk's 14. Majority of the damage by Suffolk University was done in the bottom half of their lineup. Ruggiero puts that ball in play. Keeps Panagiotopoulos at second. Throw over to first. 2 outs. After today's game, Beacons will have a well-deserved day off tomorrow, probably a practice, and then they'll make the short trip to Milton, Mass. To take on Curry for 2, before returning to UMass on Saturday when they host Eastern Connecticut on Senior Day. Senior Day ceremony will be held following the conclusion of Game 2 against Eastern Connecticut. That ball, first pitch swinging, is hit deep into center field. Grabbed by Luciano to end the contest. So Beacons fall in Game 2 by the final of 12-1 after picking up an 11-7 win in Game 1. Just a reminder, the Beacons will be back on the Beacons Broadcast Network this Saturday when they host Eastern Connecticut State University in their final home game, regular season home game of the season here at UMB Softball Field. We will have Senior Day following the conclusion of Game 2 on the Beacons Broadcast Network. My name is Dave Wahlberg. We thank you for joining us this afternoon. Tune in to Beacons Baseball, which is going on right now over at Monon Park. And as always, thank you for following UMass Boston Athletics and by going to beaconsathletics.com. Have a good night.